Hi, Soman.
Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026.
Hi. Oh my God, 2026. What do we? I can't believe we're in our pub year.
It's going to be quite the adventure, but I feel like we have time to look back a little this week before we kick off our whole new season next week with an episode that I think everyone is waiting for. Can you give us a little tease about next week's episode?
Well, next week's episode, we had a blast recording it because we could
Mm.
finally speak freely. I feel like the files have been declassified.
And the clue is to next week's episode is that you might be the center of attention.
When am I not? When am I not?
Oh, it's true. Um, but what do we have to look forward to this year?
I mean, I was just thinking we should do a whole episode about what pub year means, especially because
Hmm.
we talk so long form. Our books take years to come together. And then, sort of, this is when everything kind of explodes and everything goes by in a blur. We're kind of on parallel tracks, but a little bit different because your book is coming out in the spring. Mine is
Hmm.
coming out in we'll talk about that more.
Yes,
But we're going to
yes.
see all the stages kind of unfold. You're in the marketing mode. I still have not reached that space. The arc journey
Hmm.
for you, like the arcs are real. For me, we're
Hmm.
kind of getting there, but we've got some cool things coming down the pipe. Not just in the
It's,
book space either, in the podcast space.
you might be getting to witness one of these podcasts in person with a live episode, which we always dreamed about doing like 10 years down the line, and now might happen this year for real.
Very bravo aspiration of us.
But a big reminder to pre-order our books when they are available. Young World's already available for pre-order at revoltingyouth.org, and imminently, Victoria is going to be able to tell you when you can pre-order Tempest, and you'll want to keep your receipts for both because gifts are coming for those of you who are willing to support us at this early stage. Also, a reminder to subscribe to both our Substacks because Victoria, you have teased some exclusive news coming soon.
Yes, and I have to actually write that post so it's ready to go when the day comes. But yeah, next week, let's be honest, we don't know what day it is, but I believe next week is when I get to start doing my real rollout.
Oh yeah, so Victoria Substack and Diary of a Novel, make sure you're subscribed to both for exclusive content. And now for uh, the fun part of this episode, we're going to look back at 2025, which was the inaugural year of Plot Twist. We posted today over 200,000 downloads, 27 episodes, 106 countries, all 50 states. I mean, it's been a banner year for this launch, and we thought
Yeah,
we'd
when
collect some some of our memories.
right, yeah, when you sent me the stats, I was kind of floored, especially that 200,000 downloads number.
It's wild how many of you have and Spotify even noted that we're like a marathon show and like most shared show and instant hit. Like once you guys came on board, you stayed on board, which is
Yeah.
something
I
we're
really
very
hope
proud of.
Spotify's not blowing smoke up our ass and everybody got
If
told.
they are, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
We'll
We
take
love
it.
it. We'll take the smoke.
We'll
So
take
we
it.
have our podcast editorial assistants, Allison and Nikki, on the case. They pulled 10 of their favorite hottest takes and 10 fun moments. We let them run wild with this. We had no say in what they picked.
Oh, I don't know what
So
it is.
yeah, I don't even know what they are either. So you're going to enjoy these without our intervention. So we're going to start with a curated collection of the 10 hottest takes in no particular order. And you can't cancel us because these already happened and it's too late. So the year's over.
Now that Soman said it, it's gonna happen.
That's going to happen. Number one, should artists own their own work? Okay, so what is society going to look like now in a
Yeah.
short period of time, given that, what you are saying is all true? And I feel like professionally produced content is almost going to be the exception rather than what used to be the norm. And
Hmm.
the rest is either going to be short form, memeified video or image, AI slop, or recycled iterations of previous IP, right? There's going to be little to no appetite to create high budget original material, precisely because A, it's expensive, B, it's risky, and C, are the audiences even there for it anyway, right? Like if you want to watch a new like drama series on Peacock or read a new novel,
Mm.
when you could just AI generate your favorite smutty fan fiction of a
Huh.
book you already
Mm.
read. You see the tension, right? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking of how young people now don't just sit down to watch a movie on a large scale or sit and read a full novel when it's easier to just digest AI generated clips or fan fiction, right? From things they consumed and are fandoming about, which is why that fandom episode was so important, because fandom is a great way to build community, but in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways it keeps you stuck, especially when it comes to AI, because you can just infinitely create this recursive loop of stuff that you want to see in the fan fiction world. And the effort and barrier to now start something new as a reader or a consumer is a new hurdle that we're suddenly too lazy to cross in a way we
Mm.
never were. And because of that, copyright to an artist starts to seem like its own annoying hurdle, right? Like, I want to make these AI videos of Harry Potter characters because it's my thing now, not the author's, the world is saying. This belongs to me because I consumed it, right? And of course, we know why tech companies support this. It's because it means a huge proliferation of content and therefore clicks and views without them having to spend a penny. They do not care what the actual content is. And this is turning into the YouTubeification of books, meaning that once something is made, it now can be ransomed in a million different ways and reposted and reskinned and regurgitated, onto these tech machines. And you have lost complete control of your original IP with absolutely no compensation. And like Victoria said, like, we can't stop it. The moment the question was asked whether artists should still own their own work, the battle was already lost, right?
Ugh.
So, what can authors do about it? We can do what we're doing now, which is come together and sound the alarm that if we do not own our own work, we cannot make our work simply because the economics will become unsustainable. And without copyright, there's no, author income, pure and simple. Which means unless something changes, we're headed towards a future where the only kind of writing is sort of public square fiction and fan fiction, where everyone posts everything online for free. And if something catches fire, great. You still don't own it.
Mm.
So you're still not making money, you know? And some might say this is fairer than the current system, a truer meritocracy, right? But like Tina Brown, the famed editor, said in a recent podcast, who has the time to search through millions of pieces of work to find the diamonds? It's such a waste of our existence. We bemoan the gatekeepers, but the gatekeepers did the work that mattered,
Mm.
curating, finding talent, supporting that talent, things that has happened since the beginning of time. Like the Renaissance was literally built on this. Things that society writ whole is very bad at doing because it's extremely inefficient. And if you look at, art through the history of times, patrons existed for a reason. So I just opened up all these cans of worms, and I don't have answers like you, but all I know is that the tech giants want us to lose copyright, right? Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk are screaming this from the mountains to strip all authors of IP protections, and we have to scream back.
Number 2, should artists want to make money?
Me of this idea of, the inherent jealousy, or as I see it, to me, it's frustration, the feeling that
Mm.
every human has a creative shadow, all of us, and that we need to express somehow, whether it's making art or drinking alcohol and then, letting it loose on unsuspecting patrons in the bar. But we see a violinist in Carnegie Hall and we have to accept we can't play violin, so therefore we can't be up there. We see
Yeah.
Timothée Chalamet or Margot Robbie or Kate Blanchett, and we're like, okay, we're not that charismatic or beautiful. There's no way to delude ourselves that we could do that. We see Da Vinci's art. No, we couldn't do that. We can't even draw a stick figure. But a book, we can write a book because everyone, has the capacity to text their sentences and their thoughts. So the leap to being a professional novelist is not that far. I've had people at least 3 or 4 times in my life, absolutely sort of like, really good looking friends who have very sort of corporate-esque jobs or jobs in completely, white collar spaces be like, oh, I've really thought my calling is as a fantasy novelist, as if it's like just something that like they could switch and do the next day. Number 3, can good writing be taught?
I guess the overall improvement of your craft as a writer expands as you do it. You keep doing it and you keep learning and you keep getting better. We all go into this with our books hoping the next thing is the best thing and that we're continuing to grow and improve as artists. But can that be taught? I'm not sure because I think art inherently requires you to reach back and do the work.
Mm.
And I worry that saying, yes, good writing can be taught will like encourage people to sign up for workshops or classes and think that that's all there is to it, to like throw money at it, to build up a big infrastructure when unfortunately the thing at the center, the writing itself, the book itself, is going to be the weak point. So you can take 1,000 writing classes and still be a bad writer, especially if you don't put the effort in to develop those skills of collaboration, of learning how to take criticism, of learning what you're good at and what you're bad at. Um, I guess it is similar to asking if any other highly specialized skill can be taught. Could I be taught to be an NFL quarterback, even with all the coaches and all the money in the world? Absolutely not. And nobody would argue that. Nobody would hear that and think, "Oh, you're being so negative or you're being so rude or why would you say that?" People certainly would argue that writing, good writing, that our talent can be taught. And it seems a lot of our conversations on this podcast dance around this growing sense that what we do isn't actually special, or that what we do can be achieved through sheer force of will alone, and that there isn't something in our spirit or in our journey that hasn't developed us to do this thing. And there's also this, I get it, especially now when social media has everyone else's wins like thrown in your face. There is this inherent pressure to succeed now, to get the thing now, even if you haven't done the work or given yourself the time to grow, the opportunity to grow, the space to become good. And some writers are able to do good work, to put out good writing at age 18 or 24. And some writers don't start until their 40s or their 50s or their 60s or even later. And it's important to be able to know yourself and know when you need more time and development and listen to the people who might say that. We do have to divorce from the idea that talent equals success. I know plenty of people that I think are untalented, but have found great success. And I'm sure plenty of people think that about me too. So we're not gonna read too deep into it. While there are many things within our control in our creation of our art and our pursuit of art as a career, there are things we can affect through our own choices. I think there are at least two things that we cannot. There is, I think, natural talent, our eye, our perspective, whatever the thing is that we can do that someone else maybe can't. And then there's luck. And sometimes luck comes in the form of privilege, whether it's the right agent reading your manuscript at the right time, or mom and dad are paying rent, so I can afford to try and fail and try again. That luck is beyond our control. So I'd absolutely say you can learn, you can gather all the pieces, you can collect all the requirements, you can hit all the checkpoints that you think that you have to hit. But that doesn't mean it's all going to come together properly. And there is something intrinsic to good writing that cannot be controlled. And sometimes it comes with time or growth or continued practice and training that you have to do. And sometimes that thing might not materialize at all. Not everyone can be an NFL quarterback. We all get that. I wonder why it's poor form to say not everyone can be a good writer. Number 4, when did authors become brands instead of artists?
I was making this kind of hypothesis inside that with the world tilting towards AI and kind of viral branding and everything and
Yes.
short snippets and everything like that, the antidote was going to be true 100% long form authenticity. And that the future of author branding is to just be like, here's my workshop, here's my process, here's me, I am real in real time. I am human, and the art I make is real and human, even for a short period of time. And once you do that in the way that you have, in the way I have, I think then you can close the doors of Willy Wonka's kingdom and be a mystery bubble, because everyone knows you're real now. They know you, they know your philosophy. In a way, you don't have to be so ever present because they understand you as the brand. It doesn't have to keep reinforcing itself. So I think in a lot of ways, you and I are having opposite journeys, because I think you've been so accessible and open and are starting to contemplate the fact that everybody understands you as an author. And there's a chance that, other than long form things like this, you almost can recede. You don't have to do the rest of the work. And I think I was non-existent in the public sphere for like 12 years. And now I've had this period of, kind of showing my cards and showing myself, which I'll continue through Young World, and literally having opened up like a literal diary. But I think in the end, we're both on a journey to try to get back to focusing just on the work, and we're negotiating how to get there. So, if my secret dream, if I could tell you what my secret goal is and speak it to all of you also listening, it's that Young World is successful enough that when I put out the dark middle grade fantasy, um, I can do it true Willy Wonka style where I don't have to talk about it at all. No
Mm.
press, no tour. I mean, maybe signings and stuff like that, but I don't want to say a word about it. I just want to be able to put out a book like Taylor Swift did with Reputation and just absolutely not explain it in the slightest. Because I think that fantasy series is so kind of incendiary and taboo in a lot of
Mm.
ways that it would be nice to not have to talk about it. So, these are all fantasies of what you and I would like to
Mm.
achieve. But I guess the question is, in the meantime, what do we do?
I know. It's interesting to me that you have this mental image of yourself as not being very present before
Mm.
Young World. You were such a gigantic presence to me. And don't lie, you would
Mm.
still do photo shoots.
Oh, all that stuff. I think it was just different in the sense of this. I was a persona.
Right.
Like I was
You weren't
I
posting
wasn't
long form
me.
videos talking about here's why I wrote this thing the way that I wrote it. But I think there is something there about the authenticity and something I've been thinking about too, where on social media, I'm never quite sure what's going to hit anymore. And
Mm.
things that used to work in the past, the bite sized little, almost like meme content, doesn't click the same way. And I
Hmm.
wonder if it's because the things readers want from me is not that. They don't want the little funny, haha, move on. They
Hmm.
want me to talk for 2 minutes about why I wrote a scene the way I wrote it,
Hmm.
which I like. I actually, when something like that gets views, even if it will get less views than something that like goes viral because of the sound, that is comforting to me because it's more actual interaction with readers. It feels more real.
Number 5, would you read a novel written by AI?
I will say personally, I think that using generative AI to make art does not make you an artist. You don't want to write, you want to have written.
Mm.
And I do think, because I think, well, why would you use it to do this thing when the journey is inherently part of the goal? It's just a financial incentive. It's just a grift. Like people are using generative AI to create books for financial benefit. Like there's no, for the love of the game, there's no, I'm trying to tell a story so I can connect with others and be part of this. It's literally just, I want this book out faster so I get paid faster. I want to hit on XYZ so that I can catch XYZ
Mm.
readers. Personally, to go back to the question that we started this all with, would you read an AI generated novel? I would not. But I will warn there are very, very few ways, as of right now, because generative AI is not watermarked, there's very few ways to accurately identify generative AI writing, unless there's something like, in the case of James Frey, an open admission or a prompt left in the text. You really can't tell. It looks like real writing because it is stolen from real writing. So now we're in this space where what happens when the walls fail and the people in power, either at our publishers or at platforms, book clubs, don't stand against generative AI the way we thought they would. And that's where we're at right now.
All amazing thoughts and points. So let's dig in to some of them because I share so many of your views on there, and I just want to press at a few ideas. One of them is it's funny because when you're reading a book, I think there's an inherent contract with the author
Mm-hmm.
that they've used the writing as some portion of a confessional slash healing journey, meaning that they experienced the writing. And so it's almost like when you're reading the book, you want to know that the author went through writing it, that you're having the same experience they did, that there's something about a vicarious experience of creative process, right? Like I can never read a book or watch a movie without thinking of the making of it in some
Mm-hmm.
capacity. So to read a book that's made with AI means the author didn't actually
Right.
experiencing anything, and almost like they've taken the third and fourth hand experience of other authors, right,
Absolutely.
and experience it as their own. So to me, it's almost like you're watching your team win the game, but they didn't actually play.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep thinking, and I use this question to myself and to others many times, which is like, if you could have the biggest book in the world versus an absolute failure that no one reads, but you didn't write the one that's a huge success and you wrote the one that literally no one read. I think every author who's worth their salt, who has any integrity or really is a craftsperson, will always take the loss.
Well, this is
The
why I say people who use generative AI are not authors.
yeah,
When I'm
they're
talking about authors, I'm not talking about people who use generative AI. Number 6, did we ruin fandom? Critique of the thing becomes critique of the person. I don't like this character pairing translates to I don't like you. And that naturally will trigger a huge defense mechanism in a person. And any conversation or nuance is immediately shut down. Like the wall goes up, there's no conversation to be had. I don't know why this continues to shock me because I've seen it, I've been targeted by it from so many spaces, so many times. But it is a lesson I need to keep learning because I have this insane justice sensitivity. And I also have this pathological need to be understood. I hate being misunderstood. So when I stumble into these interactions where it's clear the other party like fundamentally cannot hear what I'm saying, I drill down and I try to be heard and I try to be understood, and it never ends well for me. I've got some very upset alchemized slash manacled readers who do not like my take on the fan fiction to trad pub pipeline, and like cannot engage with the idea that artists may be uncomfortable with the industry side of these things. And I do think I'm on some kind of like list somewhere of people who publicly tweeted anything negative about Kylo Ren, because that still comes around. And occasionally I will get someone being like, you don't like Kylo Ren, you can't be trusted. And I'm like, what the fuck are you
Oh my
talking
God, add me
about?
to that list. I will be happily.
And what's really frustrating is I was like, yeah, in the first movie, I didn't get it. And I even posted when the second one came out, like, I get it now, but I'm still on the list. It doesn't matter. People want to
Put
be
me on
mad.
the list for that and Adam Driver, but keep going.
Oh, Soman, you're in trouble.
I know.
But this is not specific to one fandom. Hardly specific to one fandom. It exists in almost every space, I would say. And the omnipresence of social media only makes it easier for clashes over fandom to kind of spiral. People can search keywords and they can come into your mentions and fight over a Taylor Swift album. To be fair, I do think if you are posting on a public platform, public response is acceptable. But I think that response should be in good faith. I don't think any of us are required to engage or give our time and energy to bad faith actors who just want somewhere to put their aggression, who just want to be mad at you. This does mean that there is a pullback happening. I'm doing it. You're doing it. Plenty of our colleagues are doing it. Platforms like TikTok and Threads and even Instagram, they incentivize misunderstanding and they incentivize friction. They don't allow for more nuanced conversation or discussion. There's no room for like, oh, I didn't see it that way. Or, I don't agree, but I see where you're coming from. And maybe that's why you and I are gravitating more to our podcast, because here at least I feel that I can talk out my thoughts with another person that I know and I trust who may not always agree with me, but I know the conversation is good and worth having. And our audience is also kind of bought in, like they're listening, not just to the bite-sized viral first 6 seconds and leaping to like or leaping with their pitchforks. They're hearing us out and they're welcome to weigh in with the whole context of what we're doing and who we are. The current toxicity of fandom does make me think that a lot of people are getting a wee bit sensitive with their faves. It's okay if someone doesn't like the thing. It's okay if someone hates the thing. And I say this as a creator of things. It's okay if somebody doesn't like it, and I made it. It's not the end of the world, and vice versa. We are in a weird space where it feels like every single piece of our lives is moralized. But who's holding the metric? Who says this is good and this is bad? And I don't think life, and I don't think especially art, can exist in that very strict binary. As soon as we start playing the you like this evil character and so you must be evil, I think we all kind of lose. As for the critical engagement, I really do feel for some book accounts I see that do the work to have nuanced, informed discussions of books and media. They fully engage, they present really great critical thought, even if I don't agree with it. I appreciate it. And these accounts regularly get beat to shit in the comments because, again, our faves have to be moralized and internalized to the point where I don't think this piece of media is good becomes I don't think you are good. And it's not a great turn for our community and our society at large. I don't like this feeling that I'm starting to get where it's like I either need to be completely effusive and positive or I need to be silent.
Number 7, what do authors owe their readers and each other?
And now for like the actual question that we're talking about, what do authors owe readers? Well, on the one hand, beyond a book, we don't owe you anything.
Mm.
And you don't owe me anything. There is a misconception that if you bought my book, you bought me and my time and my energy. No, you already got my time and energy in those words on the page, on that piece of paper. The story is the marketed item, not me. I can engage in any way I want or not engage at all. Now, is it nice to interact with readers in the community? Of course. But is it required? No. And readers don't owe us anything either. Like they don't owe us reviews or posts. They don't owe us their time and energy either. And I guess what authors owe each other is kind of similar. You know, we don't officially owe each other anything that other colleagues don't owe besides like, you know, basic human decency. But no, I don't owe you advice or a read or to advertise your work on my platform. I've been told that before, that like I'm not supportive as an author because I don't use my platform as a billboard for the books of people I don't know and have never met, for books I haven't read. And I remember being very confused by that statement. None of that is owed. It can certainly be like earned through genuine relationships, or if it's like a genuine motivation of my own. I mean, it's always wonderful to share those things, but I hesitate to say anyone is owed anything. As always, I advocate for everyone to protect their own space, to give exactly what you are comfortable giving and nothing more. And just please, please take care of yourself, because the parasocial relationships, every single day they get weirder. Number 8, is a public profile worth the risk? Besides the fact that harassing people over fictional people is idiotic, we do come back to this, you know, are authors allowed to be full human beings in the public space? And is it worth it when these kind of moments happen where you have subset of the readership who do not have the right boundaries, who have this weird parasocial element where they feel this entitlement to your space, where they feel like they can demand behavior of you or stop you from behavior that is true to who you are, that you are choosing to do. It's this very strange relationship where people feel like they own you because they own your book. And there's this, it comes back to like this idea that we have to be present on their social platforms or like available to engage. It comes with really great rewards, but there's also this huge risk of abuse and harassment, and people have been doxxed, people have been threatened. It feels like a double-edged sword that we're opening up. We have this benefit of connecting with our readers, but there's also readers who abuse that channel. And the most frustrating part of all of this for me, because you know me, I don't like to keep my mouth shut. The frustrating part is that a lot of us are sort of told like we should just kind of take it. And this is part of the job. And it's like, oh, you get to do this wonderful thing, so you got to take the lumps with it. You get to live the dream, so this is how you pay for it. And then that comes back to like the idea that having a big platform means you have more of a responsibility in how you use it. And I get that. I do get that. But there is an inequality that people don't talk about so much, which is that we are real people with real platforms where we are existing. You see our faces, you see our names, whether or not they're pen names or not, but like we are interacting as ourselves in a genuine way. This is a career space for us. We're human beings. You know us. The reverse is not true for 99% of the accounts we come in contact with. We have no idea who you are. We have no idea your background. We have no idea the context in which you are engaging. And we always kind of have this thought in our head of like, is this being done in good faith? And we all have gotten really, really good at sensing when something is not done in good faith. My justice sensitivity goes a little crazy because I sort of hate this idea that we have to stomach harassment or even like bad energy and can't give it back or like defend ourselves because we're authors. And I always want to think like, what's the follower count? What's like the number that someone passes and now they don't get to be human in their responses anymore. They don't get to be human in your eyes anymore. And we come back to that like entitlement too. They're entitled to our time. They're entitled to our tolerance. But there's also, and this is another part of it, and you and I have seen this happen a lot. There's the bad faith actors who are like chasing clout, either just for like building the bookish account, or this is how they get visual engagement. This is how they get followers, because the intention is eventually to be part of this in a career space. So we've both like seen bookish accounts, engagement bait, discourse, using it to expand their social platform, to leverage that into a writing career. And it sucks but people remember you did that. And it's not new. We've all seen this before. You're not like a brilliant genius being
Yeah.
like, this is how I will get the follower count that I need to get a book deal. No. But I do want you to personally like carry the sword and chop heads.
Number 9, can you like the book and hate the author?
Opinion is that this question is subjective. It is based on your comfort level. I do think you have to think about impact, especially financial impact. And if you're okay with supporting an author's works, are you okay with financially supporting them? Sometimes people will think like, oh, piracy is the step around that. Like, I love this author's things, but I don't want to support them, so I will pirate their work. And unfortunately, that also like supports piracy, which hurts other creatives. So I don't really advocate for that.
Yeah.
It's really just like you have to think about yourself and what you're okay with. Does this author belong to like a belief system that you don't agree with? And does that belief system use money from its members to work against your beliefs or your interests? Is buying their books or getting other people to buy their books because you talk about their books? Is it funding their political or their social campaigns? Do you agree with those things? Are you okay with, like, quite literally, you're thinking, is your dollar is traveling from your hand to their hand to do either good or harm? And I think that's worth thinking about. I do think there's another element, like when it's a book you love, a story that's a part of you and comes from someone you now don't agree with. Like there's been a shift or a change or a new development. And how do you still interact with that thing that you love? Like, are you okay supporting this person with your words and your money? I do very much understand feeling like betrayed or cut off from the stories that shaped you and feeling like you don't want to associate with them anymore. What I do take with me is that what these stories did for me and built in me, making me a reader and a storyteller and giving me those experiences or those relationships with other people, that doesn't disappear because the author sucks. Like you still have yourself and the joy that it gave you. And number 10, who is allowed to write what?
But here's where I get provocative, because I firmly believe that even if you do not do it well, and you write somebody that is not related to your experience and you do it absolutely poorly, you have the right to write whatever you want and about whoever you want, as long as you're willing to endure the judgment and backlash if you do it poorly. But no preemptive gatekeeping. I believe that bad art is allowed to exist and poorly researched books
Yeah.
are allowed to exist. The author is allowed to put themselves out on a limb, and if the work is not sturdy, let them dangle in the wind, right? The emperor is allowed to have no clothes, and we are allowed to point at him and call him naked. And I've seen this argument with reviewers too, that only a reviewer of a certain race can review an author of a certain race. And unless the author stipulates that as a condition, I would think that the author wants their books read and understood by the widest possible audience, and I certainly would. If only Indians could review my books, or Indian Americans, even ones led by Indian characters, I'd be disappointed and feel immensely pigeonholed. And they might not and never will have the full context as an Indian reviewer. But this is a shortfall of real life. Also, one of the boons that if you write a book at the peak of your powers, it will transcend your race and gender and the limits of your own body and become something deeply transformative and universal. I think of Richard Wright's novel Black Boy, which was one of my favorite books, growing up. And I related more to that protagonist than maybe any I ever had. Context is also an interesting word, because you might read or write a book in a certain era that is lauded and then reviled only a short time later. Or like, I was part of that early cohort that absolutely loved Memoirs of a Geisha when it came out.
Huh.
I read it like 3 times. The character Hatsumomo was my diva muse.
Oh,
Now
of
it's
course.
so criticized as Orientalist literature written by a white fetishist. And, I asked myself, do I agree? I don't know. I haven't read it since. All I have are the memories of how intensely I loved the book, and the fact that Madonna insisted on playing Hatsumomo in the movie until the director had to put out a stern letter to the media that all characters in Memoirs of a Geisha would be played by people of Asian descent.
What?
It's the best story of all
I
time.
think I was too young to know that
She
about Madonna.
insisted. That's why she made her music video "Nothing Ever Matters." Nothing really matters, because it was her audition to play Hatsumomo, and she sent it to the director.
How? I don't know how you. That's
We're going
weird.
to cut a little clip of that clip into this YouTube so you can see her audition. Um,
Oh,
so Well, the question, I mean, so many questions about that. But the other bigger question, was I wrong to love it then? Should I feel bad about it? Or is this part of it too, that art should be made by everyone in a way that feels authentic to them at the time, and it will either hold up or not? And to me at the time, as a, it's probably 15, 16-year-old reader, it held up, you know? In the short term and long term, though, it's going to have its own history. So for art to sustain in the long term, though, that is a nearly impossible feat, and one we all shoot for as authors with absolutely everything we have, and most often failed to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
All this to say, open the floodgates to everyone, writers, readers, let everyone start the race. And the ones that deserve to stand will make it to the finish.
And now let's move on to some lighter fare. Here's 10 funny moments from 2025.
Number 1.
I don't allow awkward silence under any circumstances. So I will start asking questions. I will fill in the silence and want to learn about you. I will be ultra curious about you if you can't, speak for whatever reason. But my audience is also usually, maybe until Young World at least, always much younger than yours. So I have to, in a lot of ways, Mary Poppins these kids along for their first experience in front of an author. I would say often 50% have never met an author before. So I remember one time a boy came up with a big stack of School for Evil books. He was maybe 9 or 10. And I said, your parents were so nice to bring you. And he's like, I don't have parents. And then you hear a voice from the corner. He definitely has parents, said by his parents. And the boy crossed his arms and he's like, I don't want parents.
Number 2. That's a lot. I do want to say there is one thing that trumps pretty privilege in our industry, and it's just being a straight white man. Being a straight white man is like being a 10 out of 10 woman, no matter what you look like.
And if you're a straight white man who is good looking, then you might as well write the book with Gen AI, because it doesn't matter. You
No.
already won.
You already won. You're already getting flocked too, and they do not give a shit.
Number 3.
Hi, Soman.
Hi, I had a CBD seltzer last night, and I feel like I still might be on it. Is it possible that it's still in my system?
Was it just CBD?
I was at a restaurant, and they were like, would you like to try it? Because I was like, I want a non-alcoholic
So it was only
drink.
CBD? That was placebo effect entirely. CBD does nothing.
I feel like it destroyed my brain.
If it was like a THC soda, then yeah, you'd probably be a little messed up, especially
No,
because
it was on the spirit-free menu, and I was like, take a chance.
Take a chance. Number 4.
That's part of this
Yeah.
slippery slope, which is, I'm thinking of a TikTok this week that I saw where a guy is just standing there in his, tight muscle clothes showing off. And it says, the caption says, if I wasn't conventionally attractive, I'd be so strange. And in parentheses, it says, I love Star Wars and I collect rocks. And something about it really stuck with me, because even though it's so stupid, the deeper point of it was actually quite profound, which was he wants value. And a lot of people want value now publicly for simply existing, right?
Ugh.
He likes Star Wars. He collects rocks. He's decent, looking. He's got a pulse, groundbreaking. And therefore, he wants recognition for the absolute base, lowest threshold of humanity versus a skill or doing something with that life, right? The life itself becomes worthy of fame and fortune.
It's the worst kind of pick me, where it's
But it's-
pick me for no reason. For a
Not only for
totally
no-
normal thing. Oh my God, this thing that billions of people like, I also like. But I'm
100%.
also attractive.
It's an OnlyFans without actually showing any, like no longer, before you had to show something. Now you don't have to show your personality, your art, or even your anything. It's nothing. It's just existing, And I think that's very, very common in terms of how we're starting to think. We want a career simply for being ourselves versus actually doing anything. And it sort of speaks to this idea of, yes, there's universal basic income, but the idea of like income for nothing, And that leads to this slippery slope where the effort of making something, the absolute intensity and insanity of writing a big novel like we know and what we're documenting for you, and you're seeing how hard it is devalued because one can achieve fame and fortune by just, dworking or putting on makeup.
Dworking.
It's
twerking.
Twerking with
It's
the
not
D.
called dworking.
No, it's dworking. Men are doing girls
What is
twerking.
dworking?
It's dworking with the D instead of the. Anyway, you'll see. Go
Whoa.
to TikTok. You'll see.
Whoa,
It's the
no,
new-
I'm not,
it
because
is-
it sounds like your algorithm's all over the place. I don't want to do that to mine. Wait,
Don't look it up.
I thought you just, because a couple weeks ago you said oogie boogie instead of heebie jeebies, and
No,
so many people
twerking.
have loved that. I thought you were just getting twerking wrong. It's a
Everyone's going to
real.
be commenting, being either telling you how do you not know what dorking is, or telling me, well, how the hell did you end up on the dorking algorithm? And both comments are perfect.
Number 5.
We want to see in the real world this week.
You go first.
I keep wondering if the reason I'm Googling Costa Rican medicinal retreats, to get in touch with my body and do yoga under the waterfall, is because, like I said, I want to run one, but not just run one. I keep thinking, like, if I did open up this Soman experience where my face is on everything and it's like just Soman and lights, and you come and you write and you live in paradise and you eat like Gwyneth Paltrow and you dress in white and I give spiritual lectures, I feel like everyone would come. Like, it would be so popular I'd have to turn people away, and then I would be like, no, we'll book you in 3 years. And it kind of sounds like a cult, but I
You
think,
want to
like,
be Nicole Kidman in 9 Perfect Strangers.
yes, but with a better accent. And I feel like
But this is what you're doing with your talks to children.
Yeah,
You're
it's
getting them
true.
young.
But I would like to lead like a good cult. Like, I feel like I could actually do a good job.
Do you know that probably every cult started with, we're going to be the good cult, except for Scientology, where it started with, how do I not pay taxes? They're coming to my house now.
Oh,
Number 6.
and I think it's because I finally figured out what it is now. I got that click moment and understanding that it is a dark middle grade romance. And once I was able to crystallize it in my head, I said it's a dark middle grade romance, which does not exist, right? But that's okay. It's a spiritual descendant of Holly Black's Cruel Prince, C.S. Pacat's Captive Prince, Anne Rice's Cry to Heaven, only for middle grade, which means that it's unpublishable. But that's okay, because that's kind of what I do. I write unpublishable books. School for Good and Evil, Beast and Beauty, Young World were all unpublishable at the time of conception, and really through when I was writing them. And eventually they have their life because they're meant to be there, right? So yes, right now I feel like click, and hopefully the rest of the world catches up.
Soman, are you prepared to be eaten alive for saying dark romance and middle grade in the same sentence?
Yeah, but the middle grade was in the middle, so it's a dark middle grade. So the dark could be modifying different things.
Because
It
there's a
could be
difference
modifying
between
middle.
like dark fantasy and dark romance. Dark romance means something very specific, from what
You
I
know what's
understand.
really interesting? I don't even know what a dark romance is.
Oh
which
no,
is
Soman,
fascinating. Do I
you
need to
gotta look
that
it up. It's like dark romance is like romance that deals with really heavy themes and like taboo relationships and not terribly consensual situations. You got to look into the genre.
This is dark middle grade romance.
I'm trying to help you. I'm waving flags saying, don't do it.
We're going to do it like you do the Spanish accents, where you put the accent on middle. So it's like dark middle grade romance.
Number 7.
I pitched this in my Substack a few weeks ago, but I'm really convinced by it 100% now, which is, I think if they're shutting down the government for this long, they should also shut down Wi-Fi 5G and all telecommunications too. So for the period of the shutdown, we are completely free from our digital life. Instead, we have to call people on landline, send faxes, and meet people in person. And maybe beepers are allowed, and that's it. And you can go back to 1997 when everything was wonderful and bliss and The Fifth Element was in theaters, and I would go every single night for weeks. And when they reopen the government, we can go back to our techno hell life. But in the meantime, we get a much needed human shutdown. And this was inspired by the fact that at the Milwaukee airport, when you get through security, there's a giant sign that says recombobulation area. Where you
Most airports have that.
Oh, I want one like everywhere. I want one like psychically. I want
do
one,
like it.
I want it everywhere. I want it in my house. So
I agree we need a psychic recombobulation. I will say a lot of people would die if your twist happened.
why?
Like, I'm just thinking like the medical system would collapse. The reliance that we have on
You
Wi-Fi
call on your phone. You're just like 911
Soman,
with the little finger. You do the rotary thing.
Your twists are beginning to reveal that you're more like a Gru character, like a weird supervillain. And
I
one
love
day we're
him.
all gonna wake up and there's gonna have been an electromagnetic pulse that went through the world and has destroyed everything, and you're going to be sitting in your apartment like, it worked, because you just want us to go back to
It's true.
1997.
Anything to get back to 1997.
Number 8. Hi, Soman. You look so professional with your blazer.
I just got back from Random House, but enjoy the site for like maybe 3 more milliseconds because I am so hot and I need to take this jacket off. But if I do, we're going to be wearing the same outfit.
We're going to be matching. I'm honestly surprised it's taken us this many episodes to show up looking like each other.
This is ridiculous. Are we in Greece or something?
It kind of looks like we're in a future prison. But I also did just watch the Prison Break episode of Andor, so I'm like, oh, we're kind of in the uniforms.
And we're also not just in like white t-shirts, we're in like nice white t-shirts.
Don't get it twisted. This is just from Madewell.
I don't know where this is from. It goes from Nordstrom's. I needed something to go under the suit.
I do want to say I do panic about what I'm going to look like on this podcast every single time, even though nobody watches the YouTube. Everybody's just listening. Nobody gives a shit what I look like. But then I look at you and you like have your perfectly framed, like your whole body's in it. I'm over here like finagling my angles and trying to sit in front of a window. And then you just show up like, Soman.
What are you talking about? I just Google plastic surgeons every time I watch one of our episodes. You should see my search history. It literally times to every time we finish an episode. It's like top 50 plastic surgeons in St. Louis.
I think we said this before, but I'm just going to do nothing and then have a facelift.
We're going to do it at the same time. Number 9.
You don't just start running marathons. I will never run a marathon.
Me either.
But you do have to train up to them from what I'm told.
From what I hear, running marathons is wonderful and everyone loves it and it gives you this huge sense of accomplishment, but it also leads to like heart leakage and you die sooner.
You shit yourself in front of a patrol of dads in very short shorts.
We are going to get more comments about that one line than anything we've said so far. Everyone who's ever run a marathon is coming hard for us.
I don't care. I don't care. The only thing I could think about, the only motivation I would have to run a marathon is to then turn around and go eat 14 cheeseburgers. Like that is the only reason I would do it, so that I could go eat whatever I wanted without any guilt. That is the only reason. I do not care. Wrap me in the little space blanket. Send me to In-N-Out.
I can't run. I can't run unless there's like balls. Oh, I can hear Scott saying it right now. There goes your social life.
Twist. Scott's a big Clueless fan.
He was waiting for that moment. I can feel it. He's listening to it right now, saying, "Oh, yeah, go chase your balls." All right.
And number 10.
The way I do revision, I wouldn't wish on anyone because I literally rebuild the book. So, everybody has their process. I think writing is a little bit like breathing. We all do it in our own kind of weird, funky way. And
everybody breathes the same, so
no, that's not true. There's like heavy breathers. There's like little light, like
the function is still the same. That was the worst metaphor you could have chosen.
Writing is like running.
Your dog died, and I'm really giving you shit.
It's fine. She would have. You know what? She was a strange breather, so she would have understood. But you are a plotter.
Oh, man. I would love to see an Inside Out, the movie with the little emotions that run inside the girl's brain, but I want to see inside your brain.
It's very calm.
No, it's not.
I had a woman tell me this week, she's like, you have an aura of peace and calm. And I was like, you're
full of shit,
blind.
lady.
Like, you're aura blind, whatever the word is for someone who can't read auras.
You better tune that aura up. You better go back to the crystal shop, ma'am. Charge 100%. Up.
And that's a wrap on our little New Year's episode. We don't have those little like kazoos.
Actually, shit, I do have some little party hats.
We're going to pretend like they
pretend.
that you could teleport one over to me.
You made me count to 10. I almost lost count there.
We just
what comes after 5?
January 2nd to come.
Oh, man.
We just want to thank you all for being a listener. I know the two of us are so grateful to have you as our little family. And next week, we'll be back with our first real episode of the year where we both look put together and we pretend like we are professionals.
Well, I just want to say it's been a really amazing year, and I want to thank you, Soman, for coming up with this. What in the moment felt very harebrained, but came together in a really organized and easy fashion. At least for me, I get to just show up and hang out with one of my best friends and talk smack a little bit and have our therapy session. And I've really enjoyed doing this, and I'm really happy that we get to do it. But I feel so validated, especially when aspiring authors or our colleagues say like, "Oh, I love the podcast." It's just really weird and cool. And thanks for getting this whole thing together.
It was a divine stroke of inspiration when I bought a chamomile tea from a deli, and I remember calling you, and here we are. And I feel like this year there's going to be some real twists and turns, and everyone's going to get to watch them happen in real time because we don't know what they are yet.
Yes. Well, welcome to 2026, guys. You're going to start. You thought we were crazy before, but now we're in pub year. Now you're going to see how bad it really gets up here for us. So stay tuned.
We'll start making some new memories starting next week. So.
That's a good way to put it. We're going to start making new memories.
New memories.
New memories. Well, we will see you next week for a very special episode, and then we are back at it.
See you guys soon.